tell me a little bit about what are some of the things that you see surrounding real estate and probate? Maybe things you've noticed in your practice, things that you think people should know, maybe problems that you see keep reoccurring. I'd be very curious to just hear your perspective on Texas probate real estate.
Sure. Texas probate real estate. Well, the first thing that I'll say is that usually with a probate these days, the only thing that actually goes through probate is the real estate. And that has to do with how the asset is titled. Most of the time, people have financial accounts, bank accounts, brokerage accounts, what have you, that allow for a beneficiary to be named. And then that doesn't have to go through probate. It just goes directly to the beneficiary when you present a death certificate. Well, for whatever reason, Texas real estate, usually you have a married couple who both own 50% of the house because they bought the house when they got married. And it's in both the husband and the wife's name, but it doesn't have rights of survivorship, which means that when one joint account holder dies, the other is supposed to be able to take 100% of the asset without probate. But in Texas, we don't do deeds for real estate jointly owned with rights of survivorship as a typical nature because apparently there has to be another document that's actually agreed to about the rights of survivorship. And I guess people just don't want to deal with that. So you always end up having a husband and a wife who own property together. And then when one spouse dies, the surviving spouse thinks a lot of the time, oh, well, we both owned it together. I should be able to just take the property, and he left it to me on the will or whatever. I should be able to just take this property without having to go through probate. And that's not the case because the property wasn't owned jointly with rights of survivorship. So you do actually have to probate the house, the real estate, even if it's got both your names on it, in order to get deceased spouse's name off and entirely into surviving spouse's name. And it's not always with spouses, but this is the typical case.
I want to ask you a question here. We were talking about transfer on death, ladybird deeds earlier. You had brought it up. What do you think in terms of like a strategy? Let's say a personal legal strategy, a personal, estate planning is really what attorneys would call it. But just as you're thinking about, okay, we've got the will, we've got the trust, but should people really be looking at like why would you do, let's say, a transfer on death deed or a ladybird deed versus, let's say, a trust or some of these other options? Where is that appropriate? When do you think that should happen?
Yeah, a lot of people come to me saying, I want a trust. And I go, okay, there are a lot of different kinds of trusts. What kind of trust are you talking about? And what do you think this trust is? Because there's a lot of misinformation out there from Google. A revocable living trust is usually the kind of trust people are talking about when they say, I want a trust.